Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show, where we celebrate every single day the amazing people who are making Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. And I'm thrilled to be today in the Citizens Bank studio. Citizens Bank doing some great work all across the state of Mississippi, and especially on the Mississippi Gulf Coast where I live, and they work in the community. Just thrilled to have them as a major sponsor on the Ricky Matthews Show. It's Thursday on this show, so we have an expanded audience. I want to welcome our listeners from the Delta and from the Jackson area as we move to my good friend, you know him from In a Mississippi Minute, the music and cultural ambassador for the state of Mississippi, my friend Steve Azar. How you doing, Steve?
I'm always good. I'm no matter what. That's mind over matter, Ricky. Good morning.
You are always good, and of course, everybody I know who knows you loves you. I mean, do you have any enemies, my friend?
I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, a lot of referees when I was coaching basketball when I moved home. A lot of them who were fans of my music became non-fans, and I said that's okay because you guys can't call a game.
I get it.
No, I don't. I hope I don't have any.
Well, you have everybody enjoys you. Listen, man, there's a lot to talk about. We're gonna definitely get the latest on the whole One Mississippi journey since you wrote that new state song and published a book that's on a bestseller list, a children's book. Gosh, man, the illustrations in that are just incredible. I had her on the show recently, and we had a long talk about it. Man, she just knocked it out of the park. But it's been fun watching you travel schools and sing the song with students, and we're going to get all that. You're in the recording studio again, working with some wonderful up and coming artists. We'll get the latest on that. Hey, man, we're zooming fast toward Thanksgiving. And, of course, this time of year, I spend a lot of time in the Mississippi Delta. It's, literally almost like overnight, the world changes in the Mississippi Delta as the hunting community comes together. It goes from a farming culture to a hunting culture almost overnight. But it's a great time of the year to be in the Mississippi Delta, isn't it?
I love the fact that you leave the beautiful Gulf Coast and head down our way. It says a lot for our land and our, the region that we live in. And obviously, man, I make the joke about it, but it's the truth. A lot of my friends, even our lawyer friends who are in suits every day, our farmer friends who are busting their tails all year out there, they all move their closet. They rotate all to camouflage and blaze orange, right? That's what happened. And it is just to hear you guys, I told you this years ago when, as much as I was gone, I loved to hunt growing up. I mean, I didn't love to hunt like my brother did. My brother Joe was an avid hunter. He was a real deal. But I loved to rabbit hunt a lot. It was more action. But the peace and serenity you get when just hanging out there, I mean, there's few places in the world and few moments in the world you could have with your friends and with God, right? I mean, it's just amazing.
It really is. I had a friend of mine who posted something. I talked about this on my outdoor show, who's from New York. He lives in California. He lives here now. And he was talking about a friend of his sent a picture of his son's first buck. Well, my friend who came from New York and California, his dad didn't teach him to love hunting. In fact, he was raised sort of an anti-hunter, didn't like to be around guns, and you know the story. We know people who, and I don't fault any of them for that, but he sent me a note about it and said I'm really puzzled with how to reply to this guy, and I sat down and wrote a long note to him about hunting and the heritage of hunting and the culture of hunting, and on SuperTalk Outdoors we're actually going to start posting a series of things that kind of emanate from what I wrote to him about hunting. Like, this is hunting, and often it's not about the animal. It's really about the experience. And one of the here's what I shared. You'll love this, because when I think about this, Steve, I think about you say, you may not necessarily hunt, and you didn't have time to hunt because you were traveling the world and all the stuff you were doing in your musical career. But you love to be in the hunting camp. You love to cook when you're in the hunting camp. You love the storytelling and the camaraderie that comes with that. And here's the thing that we posted the other day. And when I think about this, I think about being in the Mississippi Delta with my friends and my family. Many of my friends you've met. Okay, so here's what I shared on my outdoor show. The Mississippi hunting tradition is about bonding with family members and strengthening relationships. It's about providing an opportunity for generations to come together, to share experiences and pass down knowledge and skills from one generation to the next. Trips to our hunting grounds involve storytelling and laughing uncontrollably. It's about teaching valuable life lessons and a respect for nature and instilling a sense of safety and responsibility in each other and in our kids and our grandkids. And it's about a year-round appreciation for our outdoors landscapes and deeply understanding how those landscapes define us. This is hunting. And no, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Right guy to ask, who's going to give the best prolific prophetic answer is you. So I'm just cracking up that of all the people to get asked this question, the award-winning, president of how many, come on, publisher. I love the fact that you're the guy that gets to answer that question because I know that answer was going to be well thought out and spot on.
And notice that nothing in there that I talk about the actual hunting, but it's the experience of hunting. And when you think about the landscapes and how the landscapes define us, gosh, man, look, your whole book, The Mississippi Reunion, your album, The Mississippi Reunion, the crossroads of Mississippi and how the tale of the crossroads defines blues music literally around the world. The landscapes define us, and so hunting for me is about going back and touching that part of our history and being connected.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, a good friend of ours, Dr. Neil Suarez here and his wife Paige, just built in their hunting camp. I think it's 27 Break out on the river. Right? They have I call it the River Monster or River Mansion. It's not a cabin. Anyway, they built it on basically where this turn in the river comes in when the boats and the pulling all the barges, tugs come down and there's the barges are endless. They come around and they're staring right in their kitchen. I mean, it is this glorious place and there's wildlife everywhere, right? He sends me pictures of all the stuff because everything's on camera at night and all this. And it's just absolutely, but the river's always put me in a trance. It's the most peaceful place I've ever been. But when you add what you're talking about, hunting and Mother Nature and nature in general with that river, man, that is a place where your blood pressure just comes down to where it could be on the wrong side of your blood pressure can get so low. you got to wake up because it's just so serene and so peaceful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, look, I had the opportunity to have friends who own property on Kings Point, right outside of Vicksburg on the river. And you can sit on the front porch looking at the river. I know what you're talking about. And, it's funny as you're talking, can't help but I can literally hear Morgan Freeman's voice on your music video, Waiting on Joe. And how the Mississippi River sort of is part of the defining characteristic of that video. I can literally hear him talking.
That video when we shot that, looking back at my body of work from then to now, I'm so glad I feel like I've given credit to the place that gave me so much inspiration because I was working my way to it, but it took me another 20 years of writing to be able to pay true homage to this place that gave me so much inspiration, just the scenery. So it's interesting you're talking about that. Still, I think the best song that I've ever been a part of writing was on the boat when I was shooting the Waiting on Joe video, and the captain walks out and he held his cup up in the air, and we were waiting to shoot a scene at the end of the video, and he holds it up and he goes, "The river's working." And I looked around, I thought he was crying, but he was probably sweating. And I said, and I looked around me and I said, what the heck? It was so busy. so much activity. And I watched Greenville, because of the laws that got changed, lose so much because our port was designed and rocking, and then all of a sudden it went dry. And so I wrote this about a friend's dad who would come home, and he was a boat captain, and you could tell how uneasy he was being on dry land. And so it's called The River's Working. It's on my Delta Soul Volume 1 record. And I feel like that is the most nailed song I've ever gotten in my life, next to One Mississippi. So, I mean, I'd do anything for people to go out and listen to it, because lyrically, I feel like the good, one of those things where the good Lord said, here you go. It will write itself. And it was so inspirational. I got cold and it was 100 degrees. Morgan's been so good to me. He helped me put that song on the map, and that was at that point my story. So as I've evolved down at the liquor store, there's been so many other stories to tell. But man, I'm telling you, that moment in that place, Morgan, what he gave to me, and our friendship is just—he's always been so good to me. He loved One Mississippi. I mean, he cried. He said he cried.
Yeah.
So that meant I was doing the right thing. So
I'm actually thrilled to see that he and so many other really famous people contributed to the sort of retooled One Mississippi video when they're all proclaiming we're One Mississippi. It's just great to see that. It really is. What's interesting, you look at the evolution of your career, going to Nashville, having that long Nashville career, and then coming back here. I want to talk when we come back about your most recent venture with a cruise ship, which I find so interesting, and what a great way to tell Mississippi story.
Time of my life.
We'll continue our conversation with Steve Azar after this. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. And again, welcome our listeners from the Delta and Jackson. I have my friend Steve Azar with us, the music and cultural ambassador for the state of Mississippi. He wrote the new state song, One Mississippi. We're going to get to all that here shortly. But, even as, Kyle's done such a great job producing this show, Steve. I mean, how can I fail when you got somebody like Kyle and Cammie behind you, man?
I was ready to put in an offer to both of them behind your back, but I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
Hey, I wouldn't blame you, man. I wouldn't blame you. But I was listening to that music coming back into this segment, and you hear that little kind of blues riff that's going on, and you feel sort of the Robert Johnson influence on something like that. What he did with that guitar mesmerized musicians around the world, didn't it? Oh, man.
I mean, just the history of it all, and also the question behind it all, right? My cousin Abe's barbecue, they say the crossroads are there on the 61-49 split. You can go to Dockery. You can go to Greenwood. There's so many places everybody's arguing where the crossroads were. But the bottom line was just the mystery, and it's just perfect.
It is.
It keeps it interesting, and it keeps it always inquisitive and always at a forefront in our musical history. It's nuts that we have the talent that we've had from so long ago, that it's the birthplace of America's music for all the right reasons. It's proof, right? In every genre of music. And then it's the new generation coming up that is really carrying the torch. Really doing a great job.
Yeah, it is. It is awesome. And of course, as you and I have discussed in past shows, the music industry has changed dramatically. Yeah. And if you're really talented and you connect well with audiences, it helps if you're your own songwriter. Obviously, it helps a lot if you're your own songwriter. You can find a break, but breaks are harder to get today because the competition is so insanely big time out there, isn't it?
Crowded. It's pretty crowded, because the ability for people to access entertainment, and also at the same time, when you do see something that stands out, then it's really special. I still think it has to be special to matter, and good for the folks that have not been given a shot, who deserved a shot, and they can use online, and somehow things will break through every once in a while that deserves it. And it's almost like in our business, it's all about the song. Yeah. And we believe in it. When you build that foundation and you have that, then at some point it's going to shine, and you can't stop a great song.
Hey, a friend of mine who is sort of an old school country music fan was watching the CMAs, and he hadn't really paid close enough attention to some of the more recent music. He especially hadn't paid attention to Jelly Roll and his emergence. And I think he got the new artist,
Best new artist of the year.
But his story is, Jelly Roll's story is incredible. And he posted something about it. He said, "Man, look at all the tattoos on this guy's face. Can't we do better in the country music?" I said, "Dude, you don't understand. That Jelly Roll defines heart and soul. He defines resilience. He defines coming from the brink. A kid that was in jail in his teens and came out, and now he's inspiring. When he sings his songs, he's singing to the broken. And so many people in America are broken, and they need inspiration. And the way he's touched that is amazing to me. But that, again, during the pandemic, he posts, just like on the spur of the moment, this YouTube video that's now been viewed 1 billion times or however long it's been viewed, that unleashes his country music ascension. And for people who have not paid attention to that story, that's the stories we're looking for. He touched a nerve, didn't he?
Well, it's honest, and it goes back to that. I mean, when it's honest, you have the best shot in the world. Now, you can trick some people, but most of the time, 90% of the time, you can't trick people, or people are moved by what moves them. So it's got to be authentic and honest. And the guy's having a lot of honest moments, and that gets you there.
Gosh, we have some great musicians in this state that we can all be so proud of. My gosh, I mean, it would be impossible for you. We could spend a whole song talking about all the great musicians. Yeah. But one of the things, as I mentioned before we went to break a few minutes ago, that I've enjoyed watching you post about is this unique relationship that you have with a cruise line on the Mississippi River that brings your guys together to tell a story. Tell them about that unique experience that you're having there.
Okay, So Viking, we curated this show, and it's just the most wonderful. It has been my dream gig, and let me tell you why. Basically, 400 passengers show up, and they bus to our practically pre-flood, just on the other side of the flood, 2 pieces of a building. Original Greenville High School auditorium, which has become our E.E. Bass Cultural Center. It's a lot like Mary C. there on the Gulf Coast, okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's our version of that, and we're trying to keep it alive. And the arts are the only thing that has been able to do that. And with that said, it happened to be the perfect size. The building is ornate. You feel the history when you walk in it. And we were able to curate a show that is all about the songs I've written about, my Mississippi reunion, basically. It's from my past. It's a very Mississippi show. And it's reminded me of all the reasons I ever wrote the song. So I'm getting to tell those stories in a very calm, relaxed manner because their passengers are very unique. They want to be educated. They want to be cultured. And we've had quotes as from the first time we ever did it was to think we had to go all the way to Mississippi to rediscover America. Now, we've talked about this, but there have been hundreds of these quotes. That's the one that sticks out the most because it was the first one that let us know we're on to the right thing. But between our food, Chef David Cruz, Wesley Smith down here, who's head of tourism, my partner on this thing, we have got the best of the best of the best. We're employing a lot of people with paying them really well. Viking lets us do that, and they want us to do it. And right now it's 30 shows a year, and it's about hopefully going to get their second ship. It'll be 60. But I'm telling you, it's the first time in my life where half of my show isn't that, where it's 100% of the show. And they've said we got the 4-star. We're ranked the highest on the Mississippi for them. But it's the relationship that they've allowed us to build with their passengers and people from all over the country and all over the world. And it has been, I got to tell you, it's like when your ship comes in for our town. Look, Mississippi, small towns around America need folks like Viking to appear. Just all of a sudden, they just magically appear. That river, as sure as it built things up and gave us a great economy, when laws changed, it killed it. And now this is becoming its rebirth. So I love the team at Viking. I love their their pursuit for our culture and their concern and their compassion for it. And I love them allowing me with my team, which is incredible. And the economic impact is making on a lot of our youth that's working and some older people that are needing extra money. It's just been phenomenal. So you're getting our food, our culture, our music. Then you go into the big place of where you buy all Mississippi art, and it has been it's been a blessing.
Wow. I mean, the economic boom has got to be incredibly measurable.
Yeah. People think that you're supposed to, they're not shopping at all our places. Well, guess what? There's 40 people or in businesses that are all the hot tamales and all the macaroni and cheese being made and all the, the catfish. I mean, the bottom line is, and all the people that are working, they're making money and putting it back into the economy. You don't have to go into a store on Washington Avenue and go, well, why aren't we getting that? We don't see them. Well, yeah, you are. You're seeing them through the ability to pay the people that are living in your town to go have extra money to do things, to go to restaurants, to shop at different places. And that is the economic impact. This is the things I've learned as the music and culture ambassador is, I make the joke. We play gigs and I get off the bus and there's all these thousands of people and we play and we get back on the bus and they just magically appear and then they magically zap back at home. You don't think about the process and the hotel rooms and the gas stations and the food and the restaurants and everything in between. And anyway, getting to celebrate what I've always wanted to do my whole life. And I made the joke, this is not my Branson, it's not my Vegas, it's my Brangus or my Vagson, or it's really my Mississippi.
Right.
But the truth is, I've always wanted to be able to do this, and getting to do it on my own soil, where I'm so many generations back, and I understand our Mississippi and share it. It is an honest moment, and I think that's why it's working. But listen, it's game day every time we do it, and we don't get tired. And it's so.
Hey, but Steve, what I see is the opportunity to expand it beyond Viking, where people just drive from all over to come to.
People are coming up and hanging out the top, on the balcony, and so it's great. I just invited Delbert, our wonderful Lieutenant Governor. Congratulations to him. So I'm hoping he's going to come check it out, and you got to come check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'd love to see it. I understand how it's a holistic effect of a single event and how it can ripple effect to a community.
So much fun.
Hey, when we come back on the other side, one other observation about that, and we'll talk about the latest on One Mississippi, the new state song from Mississippi. We'll see you after this break with Steve Azar. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I have my friend, the music and cultural ambassador for the state of Mississippi, has a show here on SuperTalk called In a Mississippi Minute. The amazing and my good friend, I do really mean my dear, dear friend, Steve Azar. It's great to have this conversation. Hey, coming back to the show, though, God, you're so much there. I'm so thrilled that Viking Cruise Lines has this sort of vision to understand that you can bring the Delta onto the cruise ship, and certainly entertain people, and people are sort of used to that. Well, what a unique approach to bring the people to the Delta and let them see it for themselves. You could put legs on that in so many different ways I can't even imagine. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say they've been such a wonderful partner because they allowed us to sort of show them what we feel like it really is. And they have been very, very proactive and very involved in the creation of it all. And I'm just telling you, it's been the best team to work with. I mean, here's the thing. Exciting.
You're a good partner. You're a really good partner, and they know that. And having you and your team engage is a competitive advantage, and doing it the way they're doing it, because every cruise ship has entertainers that come onto the ships. This opportunity to bring the ship on the land into a cultural center in the heart of the Mississippi Delta and hear from someone like you, gosh, man, it's just a great opportunity.
I've had sort of started, with Pearl River Resort, getting to them taking I Don't Have to Be Meat on Monday and breaking the lyric out of just each line. Matt Perkins and the team there and Ryan Griffin and getting to know the chief. He's such a good guy. Good man, love him. He loves to hunt, by the way, on the river. We're going to have him back down, hopefully. But the deal is that they they've taught me so much. It reminds me of Craig Ray, Visit Mississippi, understanding the economic impact of all it. They've all taught me so much. And they've been great, great partners. I mean, like having a blast with them. So I really am very grateful that, growing up, I always wanted Mississippi to be my canvas. And I've taken that canvas and painted it all around the world, which is Mississippi, 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 throwing it at them. My agent used to say, Steve, I mean, I get it and the people are loving it, but you're so Mississippi. And I said, well, what do you want me to say? And so eventually that led me back home. And all of this is just great opportunities. Team SuperTalk, another incredible partner. Team SuperTalk has everything to do with the success that I'm having beyond this because it's such an incredible platform for us to have a voice. Now, only thing concerns me is a lot of people think that the only thing I've ever done is have a radio show. Like when I used to cook online, some people go, oh, you're a singer-songwriter?
Right.
Yeah.
But, that's the way it works. I'm a former publisher and had all that experience. And Ann said to me many times, as I've said to you before, people won't remember me as a publisher. They'll only remember me through my show.
What have you done for me lately?
That's what the truth is, people do have short memories. And that's why when you're working to make a difference in the community, you're clearly going to be only as good as your last performance. And it doesn't really matter if people even know that you made an impact or not. If you keep the focus on doing the right thing, things will run its course, and it will matter or it won't matter.
Yeah.
And
right.
I had a wonderful coast leader died recently. His name was George Schlogel. Amazing man, former mayor of Gulfport, but former CEO of Hancock Whitney, a longtime community leader. I'd worked with him for so many years. And just 3 weeks before he died, I had him on this show. And we talked about a lot of different things, but I asked him how he wanted to be remembered along the way. And he said, I don't want to be remembered. He said, I want the things that we're doing to continue. I want kids when they grow up to want to live here. And if I had a small role in helping make that happen, then I'm totally satisfied. I could care less whether my name's attached to it or not. At the end of that's what legacy really is. Your songs will live on. What I love about One Mississippi, incidentally, the song One Mississippi is sort of like Disney World. As new generations come up, they go to Disney World for the first time, and people will be introduced to your song for the first time. And as I said to you early on, when the song was being considered and then ultimately was approved by the legislature and signed into law by the governor, I told you that the impact of the song was going to touch you in ways way beyond just writing that song, because it's going to introduce people to you. Then they're going to get curious about your music, and they're going to get curious about what is this music and cultural ambassador? They're going to start exploring other parts of your life in a way that's going to be very beneficial to you. You didn't expect any of that benefit to come from it. You did it for all the right reasons, but the reality of it is the inspiration that you're now providing to single classrooms or entire schools, and as you travel this state, whether it's through your book or whether it's through singing the song, gosh, the generations that you will touch from now on are going to be incredible through that song. That has to be humbling, to say the least.
Oh, it's beyond humbling. And I keep using the word grateful because I'm trying to find another word for it. But, man, I am grateful. And when schools reach out, I'm on the air saying it. I'm going to see them. I mean, I got so many in front of me right now because we still got a lot left to do. But now we're starting to get like Katie Tenori, Dr. Tenori. She's she's at William Carey, and she helps the teachers go out and teach. So this past year, 150 teachers. We had the kids sing. They are taking the book and they're taking it out to the schools next year. Now they're doing it again. And so this is starting to multiply. The Starkville school systems, I think 1,000 books are going to there in this in December, and we're going to go sign every one of them. So what's happening is it's sort of amazing because Sarah Francis did such a wonderful job with 7 beautiful kids, and they are you tell the story. And when you get to these kids in kindergarten through 6th grade, which is what we've been going to see, and and obviously the book's geared toward a little younger than sixth. We're thinking, K through 4. But the 5th and 6th graders are having a good time. They haven't left the roost yet and haven't gone into the next stage where whatever. And then the older kids all want to sing it. So it's been just wonderful because we go in with the PowerPoint. Sarah Francis does her thing. It's getting, the kids are raising their hand. They're all involved, and there's hundreds of kids, not 40. There's hundreds at a time. And then I play the song, and the kids get up and sing with me, and the ones out there are singing. And most of the schools know every word now. So it's been, I don't know how to explain it. I just know that it's another part of it's just things you don't expect. And maybe it's because you do the right thing, or good Lord just goes, hey, Steve, you've been working really hard your life. And you've sometimes I'm going to let you work a little easier, but I just got to put miles on the car now and just go.
No, listen, I'm totally convinced there's divine intervention in this, because when you originally wrote the song, you wrote it for a specific event, and then the future goes on. People start getting more familiarized with just the magic of the storm, of the music, the magic of the song. Talking about Mississippi landscapes, you define that in this every region of the state and how people think about those regions. And then you keep mentioning Sarah Francis, but Sarah Francis Hardy, who did the illustrations for you when she was on my show, I mean, she had such a great experience of different types of art leading up to this, but had such a clear vision of what she wanted to accomplish. And the time she put into it, as you pointed out, each of the kids, she wanted any kid who was part of Mississippi, who was contemplating the song One Mississippi and this children's book One Mississippi. She wanted every child to see themselves in that song, to see themselves in that book, and she knocked it out of the park.
Well, she does. The book should say author, written by Steve Azar, illustrated by Sarah Francis Hardy, illustrated by Sarah Francis Hardy. And did I say illustrated by Sarah? She should have her name on the book 3 times, because obviously I was gifted with writing this song that literally took, as long as the song is, about 6.5 minutes to write. I mean, it took 2 hours to write. Yeah. But it took a lifetime to live. So I'm going to take credit for that, because I had to go through a lot of messing up and screwing up to get Mississippi right, and get me right. But man, Ricky, I can't tell you. I mean, there's no words. I mean, I sit here and try to articulate what's in my heart and how amazing it is, but everything I tell you is just not enough.
Hey, it's going to be the gift that continues to give.
Hey, listen, and people buy 6 books and 10 books at a time because they got kids and grandkids. And I'm going like, man, in music, they buy one record back in the day, and then they would share it, and everybody would tape that record.
Right.
You can't copy a book. It's like, unless you go to the printer.
And see, that's the Disney part of it, that with every generation, they're going to be introduced to it again, and the words of the song won't ever need to be changed, because they're literally timeless.
Hey, and as you as a publisher, we're in reprint already. That's pretty quick.
I know Neil White from Nautilus is a happy camper. Neil White from Mississippi, who's up in Oxford and doing a terrific job. Hey, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the music and cultural ambassador for the state of Mississippi, Steve Azar. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. I have my friend Steve Azar here with me today from the Citizens Bank studio, and we're talking about his song, the state song from Mississippi, One Mississippi, and his great children's book, which incidentally is a great Christmas gift. It will be a great Christmas drift every single year for the rest of our lives, because it tells such a timeless story about what makes it such a great state. And every child who sees it, no matter where they come from, will be able to see themselves in this book. And I love that part of it. Steve, it's interesting to watch the evolution of this song and the way people have responded to it. And see how your career evolves from all of this. Because I said, when we first met, I loved your story. I love the music that you've written. I think this opportunity to do this gig with Viking Cruise Line is a great way to celebrate your music and those people who are in your band and those people who've contributed in so many different ways. But I still said back then that some of your best years ahead of you, not realizing that One Mississippi would evolve and it would be this big opportunity for you. And then who knows what's next, man? I mean,
One Mississippi has been a big part of our show. We've had kids bust through the door from one of the local schools, O'Bannon, and they come in and they're singing it with me. I mean, it's so much fun because, and also I was going to tell you that Yost, who's we've really fallen in love with, he's in Switzerland and he's one of the head guys and just a great guy, very creative, very open to ideas. And has been just a blast to work with. But we were doing dinner and he goes, we were talking about the name of the show after he saw it. And he goes, I was thinking, well, I used to have this show called Steve Azar and Friends down in the Flatlands. And he goes, no, I saw it, Dave. He goes, we're calling it Steve Azar's Mississippi. And I went, what? And he goes, that's what it is. So I said, whatever. So about a month later, there it is on my father-in-law is sending me. He goes, what is this? They send out their flyers to people all over the world. And there it is, Steve Azar's Mississippi. And so he wasn't messing around, and I was going like, and I'm humbled by that. But at the same time, I mean, I love celebrating us and anyone that gives us the opportunity to do this, like I've been, and it's just been great. And anytime I get to, scream from the top of my lungs, all these songs that I've written about our home, man, I'm all in. So it's been great.
Yeah, you think, I had this kind of flashback about Elvis's career and how it ended sadly. If he'd had more control over his career and would have been able to live a long life, can you only imagine the impact he would have had in telling Mississippi's story? I mean, I literally, he could have come back to Tupelo and built, his own little version of Graceland there. And in a theater and pack the house forever. I mean, there's so many stars across the state that could tell that story.
Hey, Ricky, yeah. Do you think about how many shows he was playing a year?
Yeah,
and how there's no in the physical. He was so physical, right?
Right.
And so, how was he able to do it? It was impossible. It was like playing 4 football games a day if you're a tailback and you're getting hit constantly. So the exertion that he was putting out, it was unparalleled from any artist I've ever seen in my life. And so he had to turn to something to be able to stay up and to get him through things. And it's just a catastrophe.
It is, and it happens so fast if you think about it.
We lost so much.
And then you look back on it, you realize it was all over. Just like that. It was all over. Yeah. And everyone who is a fan of Elvis Presley or who enjoyed his music along the way, because of social media, you'll get fed something related to him, and then you'll find yourself mesmerized around him for in that moment, and that leads to contemplating. Gosh, what if? I mean, how did this happen? Of course, the movie did a great job. The more recent movie did a great job telling that story and the sadness of it all. But again, I mean, you think about how blues music impacted him. It defined him. I mean,
I love the fact that him and BB were so close, and it was they finally brought that to the forefront because I forgot, and then I didn't really know. Not like I loved how BB was a mentor of his, and I loved how he helped him through these times. And if that really happened, the movies can dramatize things or exaggerate things, but I have a feeling that was pretty close to it. Also, I love the fact my baby girl Cecilia calls and goes, and she cried at the end of that movie. She cried because Elvis. I mean, that's a different generation. Getting to experience the greatness. So they did a great job with that movie. I mean, that guy is very colorful when he makes his movies, the director, but at the same time, man, he nailed it. I thought it was great.
Impact. I mean, again, it's interesting. Watch how that part of the conversation went. It came back to blues, and you and I have talked about the Rolling Stones and Beatles and so many others that have been impacted by this place that you call the Flatlands, but it's the home of the blues in the world came from here, and now you get the opportunity to celebrate it, and it's gonna be fun watching you go forward. Listen, we're out of time. I wish we had 2 more hours. I enjoy spending time with you. I hope people enjoy our visits. You're a good dude, man, and you're representing this state so incredibly well. Thank you for all you do.
You're my man, Ricky. I could be on your show every day. It's my favorite show.
Well, thank you. This has been my friend Steve Azar. Listen, have a great day. And if you're on the coast, we'll see you tomorrow. If you're from Jackson and the Delta, we'll see you next Thursday. Have a great week. We'll see you later.